So we've got the ending to the Sam Bankman-Fried trial. It is officially over. Now we just wait for the sentencing, but we know whether or not he's guilty or not. And it comes to no surprise to anyone if you followed this. He was found guilty. The jury only did 3 hours, or I've heard somewhere from 3 to 4.5 hours of deliberating before they came out with basically saying Sam is guilty of all counts. They all 7 counts against him. He's guilty for. They carry a pretty hefty sentence, but I think it's up to the judge to decide, what the sentence is going to look like, and that's another day. So even though he was found guilty, we still don't know how long he's going to stand in prison for, which that's the real interesting part, right? Because if his connections pay out, if he gets like 10 years or 15 years, that'll be insanely just a slap to the face to everyone, and to just really lock in that he's got the right connections and he's safe. If he gets a reasonable thing, I think people would reasonably be expecting 30 years. That would be like a fair thing. I think he should get everything. It's like 120 years. Give him 120 years because he literally scammed everyone for billions of dollars. Like, that's pretty insane. But we know, I mean, there's a transcript, nothing really, like, everyone just obviously guilty. All 7 counts guilty. Nothing crazy going on. Exactly what we expected. If you followed this, you completely expected this to happen. And the jury didn't take any time at all. They took a few hours compared to what could have been, 10 hours plus, multiple days. But there was no evidence to show that Sam was not on the hook for all this stuff. So, basically they did all the paperwork and they came out and told everyone he's guilty. But obviously, he's guilty. This is the sentencing that these things carry, saying, in sentencing guideline, the 5 money laundering and wire fraud counts carry a maximum sentence of 20 years each, and the 2 securities and commodities fraud charges carry 5-year max sentences. So the judge is going to make the call. So that's obviously 110 years to be the maximum amount that he can get. I think he should get it. Give him 110 years, make an example out of him, because obviously there was a lot of this stuff going on in 2020, 2021 when there was a bull market and everything was going crazy. There was so much fraud. It's actually ridiculous. And maybe this opens a door to other people getting pulled into this. We already saw the Safe Moon people. They got arrested. They're arrested for fraud and everything. So maybe more people start to get arrested, investigated. Maybe it bleeds over to some of the influencers who took deals and made money, lots of money, off of advertising for these guys and perpetuating their fraud. Maybe that happens. Probably not. I don't think we really see that happen too often, but at least opens door to other fraudsters being taken down. And the crazy part, which, I mean, I don't know why this is a different date. Maybe it goes over my head, but the sentencing is another day. I guess the judge has to come up with what he thinks and how many years and stuff. Like I said, if it's less than 30, then it's a slap in the face to everyone and just kind of a sham trial going on. But if it's 30 to 100 or 110, whatever the max is, somewhere in that range, I think people will be happy. He should get the max, 110 years. Throw it at him, might as well. And we can't forget how people acted, right? So this is Kevin O'Leary, right? Saying, is this the greatest thing? And this can bring into question, even if these people aren't held legally liable for anything. I don't really know if you can do that. But at least at the bare minimum, everyone saw everything that happened, right? There was a bunch of YouTubers that took deals, made tons of money, celebrities, these people, they all talk so highly of Sam, so highly of FTX. He's just so amazing. The platform is the greatest thing in the world, and their reputation should be torn down. You shouldn't trust anything that any of these people say anymore, because they've proven that they will say anything for money, right? So it's just something to think about.
Disclose, I'm a paid spokesperson to FTX and a shareholder there too, because we mentioned them, and big advocate for Sam because he has 2 parents that are compliance lawyers. If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX.
And didn't that just age fantastically? If there's anywhere you're going to be where you don't get in trouble, it is FTX. But that brings up another thing people were talking about. Should you hold the people who funded this responsible in any way, if anything? Like, there was billions of dollars of VC money that was pumped into FTX that allowed it to become the scam it was, become as big as it did, as fast as it did. So Do you hold people accountable for making investments like that? I don't know. It's kind of weird to say that, because it could just be a bad investment and someone could have not done any due diligence, and it could be their right? It's their money. They can fund whatever they want, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they have, if they had the knowledge that it was a scam and they funded it, then yeah, they should be held responsible. But if they just made a bad investment, I mean, it's a weird line to try and go about. And it doesn't even end there. Apparently, FTX or SBF Sam has another trial that he has more charges against him, saying here these were only the first 7 charges that Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX was found guilty of. He'll be having a whole separate trial for his remaining charges next year. This is not over and is more to come. So apparently it's not even, this is just the first 7 that have a max of 110 years or something that he could serve. If he has more charges, I just say throw the book at him. Just throw the book at Sam, make an example out of him, scare people away from being these scamming and frauds, because ever since 2020, it just seems like there is so many scammers and fraudsters and people trying to scam you out of your money. It's just insane. It is ridiculous. Make an example out of Sam. Go after a couple of other people, a couple of other big name scams that happened over the last couple of years. Make examples out of them and make other people not want to go down this path, right? Because if you put Sam in jail for 10 years, or the SafeMoon founders and people in jail for 10 years, someone might look at it and say, I can do the exact same thing these guys did. Maybe if I only get to 10% of what they did, of what the SafeMoon guys did, they made $200 million. If I just make 20 million scamming people and I have to go to jail for 10 years, is that worth it? Some people might think that's worth it. Go to jail for 10 years in a cushy jail because it's white collar crime, and then come back out and you got tens of millions of dollars still. So hopefully it is made an example so that people stop doing this, because it's gotten ridiculous. But that's the end of Sam's trial, the end of Sam, and hopefully we don't see him ever again and don't have to talk about him anymore, because he is just a scammer, and officially a scammer, right? So that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.